Welcome back again to the Dora Show, and of course we have a great visitor today with us. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Will you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Sure.
Yeah, so that they get to know whom they're listening to. Yeah. So who are you?
Well, my name is Rahab Sangal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Habari za maisha?
Maisha iko poa.
Zero chills.
Zero chills.
I know.
Pressure.
Yeah. So what do you have for my viewers today?
Wow. We have today we're going to talk about disorders.
Yeah.
Two disorders.
Yeah.
That we interact with daily in our daily living. Yeah. Basically, the disorders is ADHD and OCD.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead. What about them?
Yeah. Well, let me begin with ADHD. ADHD is attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder.
Or maybe before you get to that,
okay,
maybe could you help us understand why it's important that we get to understand these disorders?
Okay.
Yes.
Well, from the word disorder, they are out of order.
Yeah. And
people don't know that whatever they're living with is disorders. So we're basically you're having this conversation to help people know that it's whatever they may be having might not be normal, as per se. It is out of order. So it's more of education, and then how people understand more about themselves, and then how they can overcome it, and then if there's need of diagnosis, if there's need of therapies, and how that. So basically that is it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's very important that you get to understand whether we have disorders or not.
Very important.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. As I said earlier, ADHD is attention deficit. ADHD is a disorder which is related with attention. The lack of attention in doing something, or hyperactivity, doing something in a very hasty manner, yet with little attention. So that is ADHD. Yes. Attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you identify someone having ADHD?
Good. It's easy. At the same time, it's hard. It's easy when you give them task to do. You can see how they do their task and all that. So it can be manifested when someone is carrying out a duty.
Yes. Only.
Not only.
Yes.
That is the only time that you can visibly see. You can outwardly see.
Yes.
If you want to identify yourself as having ADHD, is when you are having a lot of accidents during the day, unnecessary accidents. Yeah. That is when you'll notice, I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So that is ADHD.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure.
And okay, are you able to really identify the stage, or does the disorders have stages? So that you say this is now too extreme, this one is just beginning, and this one can be helped, this one now needs therapy, but this one, the way that you can just deal with it, Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, they do. Just like any other disease, there's
So it's a disease.
Yeah, it is a disease, quote unquote.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a disorder which is actually a disease, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So just like any other disease, there are stages, right from the onset stage, the moderate stage, and then now the severe, or now a terminal end now, when it has really manifested. You can rarely notice, or you can barely notice when it is on the onset stages, when it is still growing. You can just assume it is just the normal carelessness, but right from moderate, you can notice that, well, this is going beyond. Yeah. So it's hard to notice from mild stage, but when someone is having a severe ADHD, you can always know. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So normally, okay.
Uh-huh.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
especially when you know exactly what you're looking for. Yeah.
You are able to identify.
You're able to identify. But if it's just someone else, it can be hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So are you able to identify, or rather at what stage, or rather, let me ask, maybe you would want to identify this in a child. Would you be able to identify this in a child?
Oh, yes.
Or rather, a part B of that same question, could it be possible that someone could just grow normally, but somewhere in their life they get to have that disorder? Okay. They never had it in their younger stages of their lives, but later on in life they develop it.
Okay.
Is it possible?
Okay, we can begin from part B as we get to part A.
Yes.
So the thing is, we might want to mention what exactly this is. First of all, we can have the nurturing part of it and the nature part of it. The nature part of it is mainly composed of DNA, which rarely happens. The main dish of this disorder is the nurturing part of it, the environment, the causagens. Okay. So if someone happens to have it in future, it's because they have been interacting gradually with the environment that gives this person this kind of a disorder. If it was from onset, or rather the nurturing, where the other part of the brain do not process the information rightly, or there is a poor coordination of brain, so that is when you notice from the early stages. But if someone interacts with environment that is likely to give them that kind of a disorder, they'll eventually have it. It's something that picks on gradually until it fully manifests
itself.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Sure. So I don't know whether in the process you've answered my part one of the question.
Oh, now the part one of the question. Yes. You mentioned of a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, for kids, you'd barely differentiate a kid who is always having ADHD, but some of them can have those disorders manifest largely from the beginning, especially if the environment they were put in before they were born was a very different kind of environment. Assuming the mother was clubbing all the time, assuming there was chaos all the time, so eventually the brain of that kid is not going to develop normally. Yeah, life begins at conception. You know that.
Yeah, sure.
So you can, depending on the environment which the child was in before they were born, you can realize it. But if the child was just born normally, it will take time, and especially if the parents are just normal, you will not. I mean, the kid can just be normal, can just grow normal. Yeah.
So, but how come you can find just normal parents, but then maybe their children get to develop that?
That's true. That's true. For some few cases.
Yes.
You can find that it boils down to food again. The parents might have been normal, but the subject, whatever they are checking as the food, whatever really happened, even the hormonal imbalance itself, the issue of estrogen levels and the issue of progesterone levels. When a mother sometimes is moody, it can really change the whole idea of how this kid is growing up. So it is not really one factor that causes ADHD. There are a lot of factors that comes about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I tend to think that maybe at that earlier age it could be hard identifying, because maybe you could just think maybe a child is just throwing tantrums or so. So maybe it could be hard to identify. I don't know.
Maybe the child is just being, and you see, by the time the child is throwing their tantrums, it's it's largely will trace back to the caregiver.
Yeah.
The whole point is the child cannot just begin throwing tantrums just out of nowhere. Yeah. So that can be something else which is not actually the ADHD.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
So anything more concerning ADHD?
There are a lot of areas to speak about ADHD, but maybe to focus on the most important areas, like the duties, the perception, the relationship of how this ADHD can affect you in relationships. You'll realize that when someone is doing their duties with ADHD, since they're not paying attention to what they're doing, mostly you'll find most of them, they'll be losing their jobs. They don't beat deadlines. They're a bit lazy, and they don't care. Now that is the problem.
They don't care.
Yeah, you're fired. Yeah,
it's okay.
I mean, we can always find another job. Yeah, you just fire me. It's easy for them to just live as don't carers. Yeah, that is actually don't care. People who are don't carers, they have ADHD in disguise, which is mild, but it is something which can be reversed a lot from the don't caring mindset. Yeah, so that is kind of ADHD which they're developing without them knowing necessarily that they're developing ADHD. So I'd say from a point of when someone is working, it can really affect their relationship with their bosses. It can affect their relationship with the entire household. Someone else is doing their duties diligently. Someone else is not doing their duties diligently. At the end of the day, a parent will have a preference of another child over another child. You see such things. So it's something that it can affect someone's life. It can affect how someone is being perceived. It can affect how someone perceives themselves. It can even create a low self-esteem in someone. Yeah.
I know.
Because you have a friend who is clumsy all the time. He goes to the other corner. You have glasses breaking and all that. So you'll find at the end of the day you are very irritable. So it really makes them feel very uncomfortable, especially when they're walking around environment around people who are very judgmental.
Yeah, because they themselves may not even understand they have that problem.
Absolutely.
And they may not understand why that is happening. Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how would you help these people identify that they have this problem?
Wow. The first stage of identifying that someone has a problem is when you yourself know what the problem is. Helping them that you must first know that what the problem is.
Whoever wants to help them has to understand that they have this
has to understand the nature of the problem.
Yes.
If, for example, you know exactly what ADHD is, you can always first know that this is the problem.
Yes.
After knowing that this is the problem, you should now find a way in which you can help them. You can tell them, this is not just carelessness. This is not just losing attention. This is not just hyperactivity. It is a problem. And for this reason, you're required to be a person who has emotional intelligence. You should be ready to understand your audience. I know if I approach my sister in this direction, they're going to
take it kindly.
They're going to take it kindly. I know if I'm going to approach this one, so it's a wide array. You will handle everyone according to their need and how their temperament is and how their software is, their individuality. You'll not want to mess them in the process of telling them.
Wow.
So individually.
Wow.
Sure.
Wow. So it's really important that we get to understand these disorders. So that we get to help one another.
Absolutely.
Because honestly, I want to believe this has really caused lots of chaos in the society unknowingly. Wow.
Relationships are broken.
For sure.
and someone is like, no, it was not my mistake.
Yeah, and then one too,
it is not my mistake.
Yeah, and no one understands then what's the problem.
Yeah. Especially in the setup of Africa, these things are very new. These things are very new.
Yeah.
I'll use an example of people with maybe Down syndrome and how that people will be taken to streets, and that is just when azimu. I mean, these are things that they can be dealt with at home. If someone behaves funny, someone has been bewitched. Such things. If we are able to handle these things if we are able to get the knowledge,
exactly,
it will solve a lot of issues that we have in nowadays.
Yeah, the point is education. Education, which you're lacking.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the whole point is educate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. May the Lord help us.
Indeed.
May the Lord help us.
We need help.
Yeah. And I believe this talk is quite of great benefit.
True.
Yeah. And a great therapy as well. It's of great benefit, especially parents need to understand this so that we get to understand our children, because everything begins at home. Everything begins at home. If you get to understand your household, then you're good to go. Another person understands their household, then you're good to go. We are able to understand one another. But when there's that breakdown of communication and there's no education, then
there'll be fault finding every other time.
Exactly.
And there'll be discord in the family. So the earlier we understand that these are disorders, the better. And no one in this world would want to be misunderstood. No one would want to be told that you do this, but at the back of their minds they know that they were not doing it intentionally. If we really understand that it is out of hand, we can help these people. And there are several ways of helping these people with ADHD.
Yes.
Maybe we can go back now to the question that you asked earlier. Now, after diagnosing that, this person has ADHD, the best thing to do, if you're not in a position to help at that time, there are people who are in a position to help. They can be taken to therapists. From mild stages, you can help them create routines. Of course, people with ADHD like spontaneity. They are being spontaneous. They'll wake up at 4, they would want to wash clothes. And there's no problem with them. But you can help them, tell them, you know what, we can have a schedule for washing these clothes. We can just wash a few clothes. They'd wake up and they'd want to wash all the clothes in the house. The next day they don't want to do anything. So if we are operating in that kind of manner, you see, it will bring a lot of issues in the family, because
they don't appreciate routines.
They don't, by all means. So still in that spontaneity, you can still help them. If they wake up today at 4 and say they want to wash clothes, at least help them to wash half of it. Because you see, they'll wash a whole roll of clothes, but it might not necessarily be clean, and they don't care. As far as they are watched, for them, they are goal oriented. They want to achieve the goal. They don't care about what is the outcome. If they are set to wash the clothes, they would want to do it.
So you wanted me to wash the clothes.
The task. So that the task get out of their hand. So for them, it's not like we are doing this task. We are giving our hearts to this task. And the whole point of doing a task is to give your heart to that thing.
Exactly.
If your heart is not in that thing, then
you'd rather not.
You'd rather not. But for them, they finish that, they go to that and all that.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Maybe anything else that you'd want to add concerning ADHD?
They also have the good sides, apart from the negative sides. ADHD, because of their nature of randomness, they're very generous. People living with ADHD, most of them are generous. Of course, generosity is a character that is built. But now when you're having ADHD, it's a catalyst to generosity. You see? It's a catalyst. So, and they also have kind hearts. They don't hold grudges. they have a heart of a kid. That is the best explanation of people living with ADHD. They don't even know that you wronged them. As much as you wrong them big, they'd forget. And again, they avoid it, so they don't want to collide with a lot of those things, the bad things. So basically, it kind of gives them a peaceful environment for those people who understands them, but it gives them a very hard environment for those people who are looking for perfectionism. Yeah. So maybe that is the positive side of it. So the whole thing is, we're not saying that it's a grave sin to have ADHD. You can check the negative side. You don't have really to be clumsy in what you're doing. Yeah. You can get rid of those and then be orderly. I mean, you can be spontaneous, but within that spontaneity, you can do things perfectly. There's no problem with doing chores very early in the morning, or maybe sometimes getting late into night. The only problem is you're not giving your energy into it. Yeah. So you can be spontaneous, but put your heart into that. Yeah. That is for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And maybe to wrap it all is, the Bible is very clear about the wisdom. The Proverbs is very clear about the instructions that we get every day. That we should be orderly. I mean, the antidote of these disorders is not reading a lot of psychological books and all that, even parenting. The remedy of all these things is getting wisdom from the Bible, and the Bible will always direct you. And then after noticing that you have this disorder, ask God to give you wisdom on how to go about it. And then you also have a room of accepting it and putting effort to overcome it, because it's something that we all need to overcome.
Wow. Maybe my other concern is, just as you're saying, normally it's said that the gospel is the simplifier of life problems you get. So I want to believe it could also be a source of therapy to some of these disorders. But then someone would say, then, if just going to the Bible and reading it would give me therapy, then why do we have therapists? Why would I go to someone else to share my problem? Why not just go to the Bible?
And have the whole issue?
Exactly.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's kind of a tricky question, but I'll answer it this way. For sure, the only problem with therapies that we have right now is the perversiveness. The only problem with the psychology that we have in the world, it's shallow. There's no problem with psychology. Basically, learning about the mind and all that, there's no problem. But the problem is a lot of fiction and a lot of theories which do not really help. So the thing is, if someone can get help without necessarily going to therapists, well and good. But there are people that God can use to help these people. We have various roles in the society. There are people specifically can help someone get out of this thing. But the mistake is, if the therapist is trying to program someone or is trying to lose the individuality of someone, then that is not a therapist. That is a manipulator. A therapist is one who will always lead this person with a disorder to look at Christ and to tell this person that the only perfection is found in God. So the work of a therapist here is to help this person to understand better, to inform this person that, you have this problem. How do we go about it? And they exchange thoughts. So it's not the therapist who is going to give the solution, but rather the ultimate solution is found in the Word of God.
So could be how maybe you could demystify how a therapist would try and change the individuality of maybe a client. Yes.
Great. Actually, most of the therapists or rather the psychiatrist and psychologist.
Yeah.
You see, the system of education that they went through is one that demands that things should be done in certain order. You'll be given a theory that steps are to be followed. That theory may not apply to anyone else.
Yeah.
That theory might alter the thinking and all this of the client. So the whole thing is, if that therapist is rooted only to the books, that is now when it's going to alter the individuality of this client. And especially when the client is a novice. Yeah. He believes everything, he or she believes everything that is told by the therapist. So that means before going to the therapist, that should be the last option. I am a therapist, and if I have clients, I'd make sure that this is the last resort that they're coming for. All the sources have failed, and then now you're coming to have this person, not to change because of you, but to change because they have understood the principles which revolves the whole thing. So the greatest work of a therapist is just to guide, not to give solutions, because solutions are only found in scriptures and in God.
Wow.
Yes.
And to work together with the client to achieve the
Amen.
Desired
Exactly.
goal. Wow.
Yeah, because if you come for sessions, you'll not have one day session. Today we may want to solve the issue of time. You find yourself going to meetings late every other time. You might be having ADHD because you don't even care. Yeah. Do this and this and this. So the thing here is it is just co-working together. Yeah. And not anyone dictating you to do this and that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a joint thing. So if we work in that direction, not just in ADHD, in any other therapy round, if you co-work with a therapist, that will be easy for you. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. I believe you're learning.
We're all learning.
And someone is getting to understand whether they have a disorder or not.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
You're
you
welcome.
so much for enlightening us. Yeah. We are glad and blessed to have you on our show.
I'm also glad to have your audience. For sure.
Wow. Now, how about OCD?
Great. OCD is just the twin opposite of the other one. Yeah. Well, the other one is very clumsy. The other one is detail oriented and compulsive in nature, mean, kind of structured, routine. So OCD is basically a disorder which gives compulsion, which gives, this is obsessive compulsive disorder. You do something in excess. Yeah. If it's doing something, you do it thoroughly until it's overdoing. Generally it's overdoing. Because doing it thoroughly is not overdoing. That is the perfect way of doing things. But OCD is a disorder which overdoes. Yeah. And this disorder it closes a room for people to revolve around. While the other one was giving a very big space for people. I'll use an example. If you have a person with ADHD and you have a person with OCD, you'll likely find that someone with OCD, as I said earlier, their items are just free. Someone with ADHD. Yeah. But this one, you have every other reason to take the item. By the time they're giving out their items, they have every reason to give you their items. If they are welcoming you into their house, you have every other reason to be hosted in that place. That is basically the difference. So in terms of the operation, someone with OCD is very organized. Very organized. Not just with the activities, right from time. These are people, they'll never get late for meetings. And if you ever find a manager who has OCD, yeah, I tell you,
You're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that serious. Yeah. So there's several examples that revolves around OCD. Someone with OCD, the most common example that we use with people with OCD, they are on waters every day. Just if it's not washing, if it's not washing clothes, they're washing dishes. If they're not washing dishes, they're washing their hands. If they're not doing this, they are cleaning somewhere. They are folding clothes. So that at the end of the day, they are more like workaholics. Yeah. They are moving machines because they want
to
everything.
Be doing everything all
everything
the time.
should be in order. And these people will rarely work with the maid servants or even the assistants because they feel no, this work is not done according to how I wanted it to be. Now that is the problem. Now living within that space of a person with OCD, it can be sometimes tricky because they feel the other person will feel that space is threatened. Yeah. So that is it.
Wow. Now, what are the negative sides? Okay, we've talked of the is it the strengths? Have we talked of the strengths of an OCD?
Oh, the disorder. Okay. Yeah, those were kind of strengths, but in a way again, they are kind of negatives. But the pros of this disorder is, as I said earlier, it's kind of a main disorder because someone is very organized, so much so that they don't have extra time for someone else, extra money for something else.
Yes.
Extra thing for, it is organized. If it's not this, then they don't understand things which are called, if emergencies come, they have to be rewired again. People who have this OCD are majorly introverts. They take time to process information.
Yes.
But once the information is processed, it's done. They take every consideration.
Yeah.
All the details are paid. Now the problem now is living with these people will be a problem because we are living in a very dynamic society. Everything can come up every other time. We are living with people of different natures. Now people with OCD don't understand that. They have a delusion in their mind that people should do exactly what an OCD should be doing. I mean, what makes a person not to have a routine? What makes a person to be late? They don't give a space for excuse and all that, which sometimes is good, but sometimes it limits it cuts a space of humanity sometimes. And activities like, you may find that person would want, maybe if they are washing, maybe these are daily life. Don't worry, we are talking about washing a lot because these are things that affect us daily. If they're washing, if perhaps they have 5 basins or buckets they're washing with, every basin is very specific. They would even say, this one will be for rinsing, this one is for this, this one is for this. These are for my kids, this is for my husband, this is for this other kid. And if you mix them, that is, you're in trouble. You see. Now, those are unnecessary chaos that if someone else comes in and they don't know this is how to be done, someone with OCD is probably not going to speak up about it, is going to get hurt. And it's going to build a wall of emotions around them for no good reason. You see the problem. And the other person probably if by chance the other person has ADHD and this other person has OCD, there'll be chaos. Because the other one is freelance way of living, and this one is a structured and a formal way of living.
Yeah.
The other one is very informal. They don't care. But this one cares a lot. Yeah. Now that brings a problem. Another problem with OCD, you tend to be stressful every other time because things don't go the way you want.
You'd want them.
Yeah. And you feel no one is getting you.
Yeah.
What are they doing? You got me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You should probably tell them your story. Yeah.
That's a story for another day.
For another day. I'm lucky today I have a client with OCD.
I know, right?
Yeah. So the question for you would be, have you at times felt that people are getting into your space? Rather, what exactly don't they understand about what is happening around? Is that what you always feel most often? Or we're talking about our stories?
So much.
Okay.
So much. So much.
Yeah.
Until I get tired, I feel like I'm rubbing shoulders so much.
Yeah, you feel like, no, it's me every time.
Exactly.
And they saying this and that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why can't you just do this thing? You know, it's just common sense.
I mean, and common sense is not common to everyone.
Can't you just see this ought to be done like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. You clean this according to you, it's very clean. And to me, nothing is done. You get?
To begin again.
Exactly. I'm like, I'd rather do it myself. Yeah. Because I feel if I have to tell you every now and again, I think I'll be petty. So why not do it myself?
And you see now that one creates some kind of paranoism. You become paranoid.
Yeah,
you lose trust completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want someone to do for you something. So at the end of the day, you do all the chores.
Exactly.
You know.
And then I feel embarrassment. You get. Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's quite a lot.
People who have OCDs, you can relate really, and those who have
ADHD,
I know,
right?
Yeah, you should also know that that is a disorder, and it's something that, you know, we can do away with it.
Yeah.
There's no problem with liking things which are very organized. Everyone wants things which are very organized, but how to reach that organization is the problem. The process between the organization and organization now is a problem. Yeah. If you can transition slowly to perfection, well and good. Yeah. But if
you know, like if I wire myself that I have to do this and that and that and that. If I wake up, I want to do this and then this and then this. If you tell me to do this, I get totally disoriented. So like I'm like
a routine is running. In the morning, you already know what you should be doing before you sleep.
Yes. Wow. So if I do this without that,
you're like, why?
Yeah, there's a problem somewhere.
Yeah. Why between
and my whole day gets, you know,
get messed up.
Ruined.
Look at that.
Exactly.
Of which it's something you see now, that inflexibility that these disorders brings about. Yeah. So it means, yes, you should not be flexible every other time. But where you need to be flexible, just be.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to die. If you begin with washing the clothes,
I know.
If you begin with the tomatoes and then onions,
yeah.
I mean,
There's
we
no
have
difference.
vegetables. They will not. It will not change. You know.
I know, right?
So the problem is that point of, I say, the gap between imperfection and perfection is where we want to fill in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's we all want to strive to have good characters, but we don't need this unnecessary pressure. Yeah.
I think many people have not really understood me, you know, because of that. And I've also not understood why they can't understand me.
Now you know there was a mismatch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I see where the problem is. And it's never intentional, unfortunately.
Absolutely. It's
never intentional.
Yeah. I mean, the programming which was done from the beginning, over 20 years.
Yeah.
It cannot be undone in some few days.
Exactly.
It will take time.
Yeah. Even my clothes, if you air them in the clothesline, if you are to use, you begin using white pegs, and then the red ones, and then the blue. If you mix, my friend, at least I'm improving.
This is severe.
I used to, I'd rather go and do that afresh.
Again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you air my clothes differently from whatever I believe they should be done, then I'll go do it myself.
Or if you spread bread differently,
yes,
you wash clothes differently.
Exactly.
And now you see, that will make the other person who was doing that to feel, man.
Exactly.
I've
really improved, my dear.
Wow.
I've really
that's great. Keep improving. The battle is real. The battle is real.
It's so real, by the way. It's so real.
Sorry.
Because at times it's so tiring. It's so tiring, by the way. Because you feel, honestly, it gets to a point you're like, okay, to hell.
Why don't you buy one color of pegs so that you don't have people mixing? Just buy white.
Because you just need to be orderly. Like, why should you mix the pegs? Green, red, green.
I know. White, I also have a problem with that pegs. But for you, you're going to make a group of schools.
I know, right?
Yeah, that problem is serious.
But then I'm improving.
Okay. Keep improving.
And I'm just getting to understand it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're all different.
Exactly. Yeah. We're different. And I get to understand that this one, just as you're saying, it's more of contributed to by our environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And looking back, this was, from earlier on when I was a child, you get? Yeah, so this has really affected me so much. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And I don't know, this would be an advice to many parents. We really need to understand these
parenting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And these disorders so that we get to understand our children and not inflict such pains to them.
Yeah. Because, actually, you're mentioning about parenting.
Yeah.
There's one style of parenting called authoritarian parenting. A dictatorship kind of parenting. Yeah. Eventually, their kids will either rebel and have ADHD, or they'll follow exactly the suit. So if you have a parent who is doing dictatorship kind of parenting, they'll produce two kinds of kids. The other one will follow the flow, and the other one will be scapegoats. They're always two. If they're lucky, all of them will follow the right path. And they'll have a lot of resentment and bitterness in them if they're going to follow that path. Yeah. So the CPU of this thing, the software of this personality disorder is majorly caused from 0 to 7 years. It's enough to equip someone to be a different person. You cannot change that person. So the advice that we have for parents is we should not alter the individuality or create unnecessary disorders from the onset of our children. Now the thing is, they don't even know. They don't even know. And we don't blame them. We don't blame them. That's why we are coming up with these initiatives of education. Let us get educated. After getting education, let us do as much as possible what we can do to help ourselves and then later help other people. Because you begin from yourself. If you don't help yourself, you can't help someone else.
We begin by understanding ourselves first.
True. Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Growing up, I was wired to be like a computer,
a programmer, a lot of coding.
I was totally programmed.
The back end of the code was functioning. Yes. Now you have the front end. It's now running. The code is now running.
It was so bad.
I'm sorry about that.
I feared disappointment. I feared embarrassment.
Oh my.
And actually it reached a point that if I get to know that maybe whoever I'm going to work with will not help me get the desired result, then I'd rather not be part of that.
Oh, wow.
Because I fear embarrassment and disappointment. Yeah. It's that bad. I'd rather be out of it than my name being mentioned in something that
it is embarrassing.
Exactly.
Look at it. The good side was good, but now it comes with a lot of a package of bad things. Yeah. But I'm glad that you are getting it, and you also want some other people to know that, well,
I think this session is more of a therapy to myself.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful for having you in our show.
I'm glad.
For heaven's
this has
sake.
to be therapy
For
someone else.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
You're a blessing in disguise.
Amen.
I tell you.
Amen. And just to mention, I think my disorders are kind of weird. They operate into extremes. Yeah. So the moment I noticed, at least I'm filling the gap. Yeah. I can decide what to do at what time. I would wake up even at 1 and do with something that I would have done any convenient time.
Yeah.
Or I'd go to the meeting when they're closing the meeting without any apology. You know. That is the problem. Yeah, I'd want my clothes to be arranged this way. If not that way, let me just leave it until the day I'll arrange it the way.
Exactly.
You know, that is for me. That for me looks like selfishness. Why would I want to go to a meeting at any time? Why don't I just follow simple rules? I was not a person of routines. I'm still not. But I'm trying to walk in an organized way. You should not have routines to be organized. Yeah. You should not be fixed minded, but you should be an organized person. We should all strive for perfection. So this thing is possible. Yeah, and all these disorders should not define anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you feel that disorder is defining you, then it shouldn't. Yeah. And no one should feel less of himself when they have these things. We are only learning. After learning, we'll say, well, what do we do next?
Exactly.
Now I know that I have OCD. Now, like yourself, you already know, but you didn't exactly know that. Well, this is causing things to
exactly. It got to a point I didn't really understand myself. What's really not happening?
What is happening?
I don't get it.
You're rubbing shoulders constantly.
Exactly. Yeah. And someone else too doesn't understand what is wrong with them. And
with
I feel they don't understand me. Then what's the problem?
They're like, why are you looking at the mistakes?
Exactly.
Yeah, why don't you look at the good?
No one is coming to tell you, this and that. And I'm like, how I wish someone would just come and tell me, this and that and that, Could be of great help. You get?
Yeah.
I know. I know.
Okay.
That is why I really feel this talk is of great help. Not just to other people, but even to myself.
Ah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is what we are asked to do every day.
Yeah.
We learn by talking to each other.
Exactly.
And then iron will always sharpen another eye.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. As I'm also talking, I'm also learning because I'm not complete yet.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I still have a lot of personalities, a lot of them. So I have to reduce this load every day until I reach the mark.
Yeah.
So the point is, actually the punchline of all this is, let us begin from discovering this thing. Yeah. Let us get education. Go to YouTube. It's always free.
Yeah.
Look for this knowledge. Read books about it. But would want to recommend Mind, Character and Personality, Volume 1 and 2, for someone who would want to get it better.
Maybe not everyone would really understand what you're saying about that, you get?
Oh, the mind, good. That's
exactly,
true. That's true. Would want, for those who
understand that, could go and look out for that.
They'd go and look out for that.
And how about those who don't understand it?
For those who will not understand, just type ADHD, read about it.
Yeah.
Go to even documentaries. People have documented their lives. People are living with ADHD, and you can easily relate. This is really me. Yeah, someone is doing that, and you're saying this is me. And others have they do free videos of diagnosing it, of free therapies online. You can always do that. Yeah, and this technology is a blessing in disguise. So if you realize it.
Actually, it got to a point that I felt like I need to write a book.
You should. You still should.
Maybe someone reading it, will get some help. I don't know. Because I don't get to understand myself. But I can write down whatever I feel. Then maybe someone else outside can figure it out. Maybe they have this problem. You get? Yeah, you get.
That was a big deal, man.
Because I was like, no.
That...
I'm so messed up. You get?
Okay.
My life is so confused.
Yeah.
You get?
I really
and
get
I thought, I need to come up maybe with a book. I don't know.
You still should.
And maybe document my life.
Yeah.
Maybe someone would learn something. You get?
That is true. And now that even you have a vast knowledge of this thing.
Yeah.
You can now document it. You may want to go through diagnosis and even give people therapy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a formal therapy. Just doing activities with people can help. Yeah. And the flexibility in it. Yeah. So it will revolve, the whole documentary will revolve around the activities and the normal day doings. Yeah.
Now, maybe my last question.
Okay.
When you said whenever we would want to help people with these disorders, and maybe in this case, someone with an OCD. Well, you may find someone with an OCD, but dealing with them is just so hard.
I know.
So hard.
Wow.
Even getting them to really talk to you, really open up, and you getting to understand them is not easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe therapists would understand how to deal with this. Like yourself.
I really get it.
But really getting to help these people is normally a hassle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to sweat.
Yeah.
Because anyway, whatever they're doing, they're also sweating to do that thing. You see, you cannot understand someone who is putting much effort. They don't even get themselves. So how do you understand someone with OCD when they themselves even don't, But the thing is...
Yeah, because you'd have someone, if they put this here, they would want to find it here.
Yeah.
You get? Yeah. If they put it there, they would want to come back and find it there and not any other place. And you try to tell them, well, it's good to be organized, but then...
This is unnecessary.
Exactly,
This is unnecessary organization.
Yeah, you're being too petty.
Yeah.
You get? Yeah. And then you get to be so personal with them. They feel you're now too personal.
Getting their space.
Yeah. And it becomes a grudge. I don't know. I don't know how you would deal with such a case.
What was the question again?
Dealing with maybe a person with such a disorder.
And helping them.
Exactly.
The thing is...
When they themselves do not really understand, you try explaining, but they don't understand.
They don't even get the sense.
Yes, and even if you bring up the issue of a therapist, they would not appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't see they have a problem. Either way, you have the problem, not them.
One thing with OCD people, they love facts. They love facts. You tell them facts, you tear their hearts. If they get that something is true, you don't tell them twice. So you gather facts first of all. Don't just go there with scattered information.
Oh yeah.
They'll
brush you off.
They'll brush you off. So the thing is, equip yourself with information.
Yeah.
I say this thing should be contextual. If I'm going to meet someone with OCD, I'd even want to take them to take a whole file of evidence and tell them, you know what? Yes, this is it. How about if we do this and this and this? You don't have, if you go and introduce a therapist directly, they'll say, I'm not sick.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
What's the problem with me?
But I mean, Rome was not built in one day.
Yeah.
If you gain their confidence slowly by slowly, at the end of the day, they are humans. They're still humans. And they as much as they might be called in giving trust to people, if they give trust, that is it. You have. So the whole thing is seek for wisdom on how to go about it. Pray about it. Gather facts. So I'll emphasize on facts. there is nothing that breaks down a heart of OCD person like the facts. If they just know this is it, they click once.
Yeah.
You might even help them once, and they're like, oh, so this thing it was just simple,
right?
Yeah. They don't want a lot of explanation.
Exactly.
These are people that get bored in class when a teacher is doing their own things,
right.
And they're like, what is this? You can relate, right? You see,
how to literally sleep.
I mean, we have a class here.
And just switch off.
Yeah, you see now that one.
Oh yeah.
So the whole thing is gather facts and reach to them. Yeah. Any heart which is willing to learn will always learn.
Sure.
Either ADHD or OCD. Yeah, they will always want to learn. Anyone who will always want to learn will learn. Those who cannot be helped will not be helped. Those who do not want help will not be helped. Wow. Yeah. So work on the willingness. Yeah, and just put some little effort and you're there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So the point is educate.
Indeed. Education is necessary.
Very necessary.
Yeah.
So that you don't perish.
Yeah.
So that you don't create unnecessary misunderstandings amongst ourselves.
The relationship breakdown.
Yeah.
Do you know a half of the divorce that is taking place right now is because of the disorders? Yeah. How this one was brought up and the other one was brought up is different.
Totally different.
Assuming everyone had that understanding, this understanding will even take them close to Christ. Because one thing that we are told is we should get rid of ourselves. So once we have understood all these things, we will live peacefully. At the end of the day, what we want here is we want a mutual understanding. We want people that will operate within the same wavelength and frequency. We don't want people when you're operating in this direction, they're operating in this direction. That will bring discord. So if as a family, as friends and all that, get this clearly, we'll have a smooth operation and happy families. I mean, what is more important than that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
It will be easy. What will be more important than a husband understanding the wife? That you see my wife as this kind of have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And is going to do everything to help them. If I know my sister has a problem, I'm going to do everything to do what? To rescue them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they know they have your back.
And that you've
the
got
trust
your back.
is there and the
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
And
the thing
bond.
here is we can all be therapists
Exactly.
as much as we build the trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can first begin by ourselves. And I've said if we don't help ourselves first, no one will ever trust us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, maybe just a quick one. You know, normally maybe from the scriptures, and especially now that we're Christians, you get, someone would quote the Bible,
Okay.
the past is gone and the new has come. You get,
Yeah.
and so we need to live with the new life that we've received.
Yeah.
And live our past. But then our past defines that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you're trying to get
I'm
me.
getting it. I'm getting
You
it.
get.
Yeah.
And so my point is, I tend to believe that maybe during the courtship period for marriages or rather Christian marriages, I think it's really necessary. It's really important that we get to understand each other's backgrounds so that we get to understand each other properly. Because you may incur maybe a problem in the future, a problem that you would have solved, or a problem that you would have avoided, or a problem that you would have understood if at all you understood the background of
the person,
of your partner.
Yeah, and you're saying 1 + 1
Exactly.
is 2. Yeah.
Yes. And maybe at one point you try to explain yourself to your partner. You tell him, maybe it's my background that could be causing this. And they're like, no, you shouldn't live
the past
with your past.
Yeah, we already left it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you feel you're so much attached to your past that your partner needs to understand for you to move together ahead and help you, improve your past or rather your future.
Yeah.
I don't know what you have to say about it.
Yeah. Let me speak about the past first of all. The whole thing about, as I've said, from 0 to 7 years.
Yes.
That is you.
Yeah.
a software is built in you which
Yeah.
defines you.
Mm-hmm.
An individuality
Yeah.
is a personality is built.
Yeah.
The thing is, you cannot wake up one day and do away with it.
Yeah.
This is something that you've been living.
Mm-hmm.
You have created a permanent pathway
Mm-hmm.
in your brain
Mm-hmm.
that this is how I do my things.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, in that courtship period,
Mm-hmm.
your partner should scrutinize
Mm-hmm.
everything
Mm-hmm.
and exactly know that, well, if I'm going to marry a person with ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
am I going to survive with it?
Exactly.
They must know that, well,
Mm-hmm.
this background was like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it is defining her.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to help her?
Out of this.
And yourself also,
Mm-hmm.
as the subject in this situation,
Mm-hmm.
you should also tell yourself, well,
Mhm.
you know, this is not something that I'm proud of.
Yeah.
Let me take rid of it.
Yeah.
So I would say past has a lot to do with
Our present.
yeah,
and
our
future.
present and our future.
Yeah.
So the thing here is, yes, we should just live a renewed life,
Mm-hmm.
but it is not a rapture.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wake up one day and say, well, today I'm not an OCD person.
Mm-hmm.
This is a permanent pathway that you have created.
Yeah.
We have to slowly by slowly take away this pathway
Mm-hmm.
until we don't have this line which has been formed.
Yeah.
It is brain that we are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We are creating a muscle. We've already created a muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
Things we do it subconsciously.
Mhm.
The example of the peg.
Yeah.
You've always known that white pegs, I begin with white clothes,
Mm-hmm.
this manner of things,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't wake up one day and say, I don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And someone will say, I mean, what is wrong with that?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are dealing with the brain here.
Mm-hmm.
We are dealing with, you cannot deceive your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain will always tell you what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the whole thing is, both parties should understand that, well, as much as we are talking about this thing being simple,
Yeah.
it's not something that we overcome that easily.
Yeah.
We need the grace of Christ.
Yeah.
When the grace of Christ is in us,
Mm-hmm.
when the word of God
Mm-hmm.
lives in us, we are able to overcome this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we should intentionally do it,
Yeah.
both of us.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned something which is very clear.
Yeah.
Those who are courting,
Mm-hmm.
please, these are nitty-gritties which you
Mhm.
should not be avoiding.
And very
Yeah.
sensitive.
Very sensitive.
Very sensitive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These are some of the things
And
that
that is why we end up breaking up,
Yeah.
our marriages.
exactly.
Yeah.
Instead
Because
of breaking
that
up the
lack of
courtship.
understanding. Exactly.
If you know that you're not going to live
Yeah,
with
you'd
someone,
rather- you'd rather
man,
break the
cut
courtship.
off,
Exactly.
cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cut off completely.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very important.
Very.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Surely may the Lord help us.
Indeed.
May the Lord
We
help
all
us.
need this help.
Exactly.
And we all need this light.
And it begins from here.
Yeah.
It begins from here.
Indeed.
We need to understand.
Uh-huh.
May the Lord open our minds
Mm-hmm.
broader and broader, that this really gets into us
Yeah.
and understand it
Mm-hmm.
properly,
Yeah.
for the sake of a future generation, for
Indeed.
the sake of a current generation,
Indeed.
and for the sake of eternal life, of
Mhm.
course. Yeah.
That's true.
Wow.
For sure.
Wow.
We really
I
need
know.
help.
Yeah. I know you're a therapist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe you have handles, but maybe my audience
Mm-hmm.
or my viewers
Okay.
would, reach you.
Mm-hmm.
So you could share out your handles so that they get to know where they can find you.
Ah, great.
Because I believe after this talk,
Mhm.
one or two people would want to reach out to you.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
First of all, I run an online clinic
Yeah.
for therapists, not just for OCD and ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
general.
Yeah.
You'd get me on WhatsApp, you'd get me on Facebook
Yeah.
and email.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd give the number.
Mm-hmm.
My number is +254
Yeah.
712
Mm-hmm.
829
Mm-hmm.
259.
Wow.
My email is rahabsongol
Mm-hmm.
@gmail.com.
Wow.
That is always what I use
Mhm.
because it's very convenient.
Yeah.
I don't also mind text messages.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm not very formal.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway you'll reach me, I'll be
Mhm,
there. My
mhm.
Facebook name is Rahab Sangal.
Wow.
And then TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
Rahab Sangal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much.
I'm glad.
It's a blessing to have you now, show today.
I've been wanting to be in this show. I'm really
Wow.
glad.
We're really glad.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was a blessing
May
being
God
here.
bless you so much.
Indeed. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a good exchange.
Exactly.
Yeah.
how we wish we would have more and more of you on our show.
In future.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know, as
also
God
like to know what
exactly.
our audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Your audience.
We would want to really, you know, get to see your feedback on the comment section. Exactly. You know, maybe those who have these disorders, maybe your relatives, you know, someone close to you, and how did you handle it, or how are you planning to handle it? Okay, and maybe if you've gotten some help from our talk today. Exactly.
And even, are you relating it? Is it
are you relating?
Like, these people are talking about me.
You know, we'd want to hear that, you know, on the comment section. Kindly just be free and share with us. We'll be so glad.
Indeed.
And remember to share so that this gets to, you know, as many people as possible. Okay. So that we reach so many people and the society gets educated.
Indeed.
It will be something great. Remember to comment, share, of course, like our videos. And of course, subscribe to support our humble, you know, mission. Exactly.
Indeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maybe something that you'd want to tell them lastly before we wrap up.
No, maybe I would say if as we said early, if there is specific thing that you'd want us to talk in that sphere of mental health, you can always reach to her.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much. Of course, this was the Dora Show, and of course, I'm your host, Olodore.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.